Let's see what Greg Cherry has to say on his final hot take.
My hot take is from actually last year. And that is my belief that Shane McMahon should have defeated Kofi Kingston to become WWE Champion. And then go on to WrestleMania to lose the championship to Kevin Owens.
Did he say what I thought he said?
Yeah, he did.
He thinks, and Greg, we appreciate your hot take. Please understand that before what ensues. You think Shane McMahon, of all people, should have got a title run last year, and then he dropped it to Kevin Owens. Then him dropping it to Kevin Owens is the only part of that I actually enjoyed. Why?
He want a Shane title run. He wants Shane to beat Kofi.
Yeah. I mean, what was he going to do it in, like a 20-minute classic?
Like, you go through this amazing moment of, okay, I was there when Brock beat Kofi, and people were upset that Kofi just got steamrolled after that, because like the whole moment of him winning the title was so amazing and it meant so much to people. I honestly think the reaction to a McMahon beating him for it, Shane McMahon, would have been even worse than Brock.
Romaine is a hell of a lettuce. Up, down, over the nose. Listen, man, there's a difference between like heat and horrendous. Like Shane McMahon being the champion is like, don't get me wrong, I'm a Shane McMahon lover in the sense that I enjoy him. I find him entertaining. And although he was way overused at one point, I like Shane McMahon in general. Do I want to see him with the top belt in the company? And do I want him to prize it off somebody who's just had an 11-year ascension to the spot that they were previously told they would never get? No, I don't want that. And in what kind of justification way would Kevin Owens finally beating Shane McMahon? What about Kofi? What about him? Kofi, you put him over.
I don't want to say that's the worst take yet, but it might be. I don't know what kind of storyline, like what would be this storyline here. So Millionaire Boss's son, Shane McMahon, beats Kofi Kingston, who's had this incredible journey, whose title reign means so much to people. He beats him only for Kevin Owens to then come in and vanquish him.
No redemption for Kofi. None. Like, zero.
It's bad. Like Shane McMahon, if you like, we had this whole conversation about the Intercontinental Championship and what you should do to elevate titles and whatever. Okay. Elevating and treating a title properly, it's not putting it on Shane McMahon at his age, especially while beating Kofi for Kevin Owens to win it. It's just no, I can't like no. That's worse than even the worst Vince McMahon booking, perhaps.
Is that worse than the Dexter Lumis love? I think it is.
Yeah, I think the only way he could have made it worse would be to insert Dexter Lumis into.
For the record, I like Dexter Lumis. I don't think he's I don't want to be a party to the mass murder that Steph is committing against Dexter Lumis.
Distance yourself from me just because you're scared of Dexter Lumis fanboy. Come on.
Listen, yeah, I am. I'm terrified. No one's paying me to say their name.
Get a bag of your head, they won't recognize you. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would have been fine. Let's take a look at a hot take that was sent into us. And we're going to start with Jobber JJ.
Hello, Wrestling Daily. Now, all good things must come to an end. So my hot take is the McMahon family should stop booking wrestling. They have 7 hours of TV time. No one feels like a star to me. No one's really getting over. The booking is terrible. It doesn't make sense. They're outdated. And yes, this does include Triple H.
Piping hot take. First of all, that was WrestleVotes there. The man uncloaked the other day is a Jobber JJ.
Well, okay. Firstly, are the McMahons booking wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. All Vince really does is greenlight stuff, right? Like, I mean, come on. You know, in terms of like who was booking Raw, it was Heyman for that period of time, and it seems that Bruce Pritchard is really in that role. Yeah, they got to run everything by Vince McMahon. I don't think the McMahon clan sit around the table before shows and go, and like plot out angles and whatnot. They've got like 40 writers who do that. It's as Moxley has said it himself, the system is broken. The way that they have a million writers and they all have to conjure up, and then they get to Vince, and Vince goes, "Oh, I like that. I don't really like that." And then you've got like half a story that doesn't really, and that's why the shows are so disjointed sometimes. So I understand it from that perspective, but let's not get it twisted. Vince is one of, if not the greatest genius in the history of wrestling in his prime. Like he represents the platform of wrestling that we have today. You know, for better or worse, the climate that we see and the other promotions have been allowed to build in is essentially down to Vince McMahon. So you can't really just, you know, crap. I know people love to crap on him, and I do think, yeah, he's probably out of touch now, but I do think credit where credit is due. My favorite time of wrestling, they had like 4 writers, I think, you know, like around just before, during Russo, after Russo, it was just Vince, him, Pritchard, you know, and a couple of others. And you just think, why did they have to expand it? I know they got all these extra hours of TV now, but the core essence of how it worked should have been how it worked. And I feel like that is half the problem, that they have these massive writing teams that ultimately they could sit there and pour their life's work into it. And then Vince McMahon will just be like, nah, you know, and then it's like, oh, you got to start again on like show day or whatever. And they don't have any concurrent plans. The reason I like AEW so much is because you can see that they clearly have destinations and long-term stories. They've clearly mapped out what they're doing. And it's you get rewarded week to week, and you can follow the story. WWE, every now and again, you know, I don't agree with everything doesn't work. Roman Reigns' storyline has been amazing. Sasha and Bailey had a great run this year. There are plenty of examples of good stories. I just take your point that yes, maybe I would concede that the way they do it in WWE is outdated.
I would say, firstly, Bruce Pritchard should stop booking wrestling.
Well, man, he did for a long time, and it was still not great. You know what I mean?
I just think that Vince, firstly, they're kind of fighting a losing battle because they've got that many hours of TV to do that I'm not sure anyone could write that many great hours of TV in a week. I understand why they have so many writers, but it's a system that's really not working at all. I think Vince has to learn to kind of concede a bit of control, and I think he needs to he'd be better off hiring a small group of diverse people, because it seems like they have all these writers, but at the end of the day, it's just Bruce Pritchard bringing things to Vince that he knows Vince will like, so Vince will be okay with it. Whereas they really need some different ideas, different voices that are working together, and just kind of move away from this like old school guard. You know, Tony Khan is a lot younger than Vince McMahon, and you can see by the demos that he's booking something that appeals to a broader range of people and a younger demographic of people, which is what you need. And, you know, he's like a year into it, and he's doing such a great job, and things just seem like stale with Vince. But, you know, Vince is never going to change. WWE is never going to change with Vince in charge. When it comes to Triple H was doing a great job with NXT, and it's clear that at some point the McMahon influence came in there, and he felt a bit handicapped because what Triple H was doing would be great, and then something would happen, like he'd lose people. And I think once they've moved to USA Network, that's changed the show even more. That's probably negatively affecting Triple H, because for a while it seemed like everyone thought Triple H was going to be the absolute savior of WWE, especially people that were disenfranchised because they loved NXT so much. But then it seems, you know, with the positions that Vince has given to other people, that he's not even, you know, looking at Triple H in that way. I think he's happy giving Triple H this NXT, but he's interfering in it negatively. And I think NXT has suffered from the move to USA for sure as well.
I think when NXT was on our show, it was the best show in wrestling. That's my opinion. It was amazing. And there was an era there where Triple H was doing tremendous work, and he still does from time to time in NXT. I agree it hasn't been as strong as Dynamite, but I totally disagree with what True Heel Heat has got to say here. I agree with everything, especially the Triple H part. I think he doesn't get any heat for the staleness that's permeated from NXT. Good stuff lately, though. I mean, that's a contradiction in itself, but
I think he does get heat from it. There's a lot of people saying that NXT is not as good as it used to be. And like, let's be honest, that's true.
yeah, but how much of that, you said it yourself, how much of that is his fault because he loses a lot of his roster?
That's what I wonder, though. Like, he is getting heat for it, but is it his fault? He loses his roster. And I can also see that now that they're on USA Network, that he's basically been told incorrectly that this is a network TV show now and it needs to be more WWE wrestling than it was before, which is just losing the charm that made it successful in the first place.
I have to agree. I mean, on that note, let's move on to NXT. And I would like to start with what I would, for me, there's two real high points on this show. We're going to talk about the closing angle that has led us to War Games. I'm not going to try and even say it the way William Regal says it.